Hey guys, it's Sithlore. Wanted to talk about the very last mantra available for the monk, which is Mantra of Conviction. Now, this is by far the most popular mantra, and the reason being is because it increases your damage. Now, it increases your damage by 12% and 24% for the first 3 seconds, but let me explain how the skill actually works. It doesn't do a straight up increase in damage, and so right now if I use the mantra, my damage didn't change, but it tells me that my damage increases by 24% for the first 3 seconds and then 12% after that for 3 minutes. Now, how the skill actually works is it's only enemies that are within 20 yards of you that that take that additional damage. So this is extremely important to distinguish and to think about when you're dealing in a group setting. So of course, if you're playing solo, the monk's a melee character, so that's the skill that you're going to want to utilize. Well, if you're playing with a bunch of ranged enemies and you're essentially their tank, the 20 yards is a pretty small area, and they're not going to be likely within that range. So you're really the only person that's going to benefit from this mantra. So you might consider using something that's going to benefit all of you, such as the Mantra of Retribution and the Transgression Rune. So that increases your attack speed for you and your allies by 8%. So this may be one of the few times that you'll utilize the Mantra of Retribution. As far as the runes, Overawe is the most popular rune because it doubles the damage. So rather than being 12% for 3 minutes, it's 24% for 3 minutes. And for the first 3 seconds that you use the skill, then your damage is increased by 48%. So that's a huge damage increase. And the reason that that's the most popular rune and the most popular mantra available. So, Intimidation, rather than dealing additional damage, this allows you to take less damage. Again, this is one of those situations where they have to be within melee range or have to be within that 20 yards for you to take less damage. So if you're dealing with a ranged pack, they're not going to be impacted whatsoever, and you're still going to take the same amount of damage. Dishearten is the next rune. Honestly, I think this is one of those pointless runes, and the reason I say that is because I don't even notice a difference. So let's just go to an area, and we will take a look at what this rune does. And so that's his normal movement speed, and that's his normal movement speed. Well, I couldn't see very well, but that's primarily because you won't notice much. There is not much of a difference between the movement speed that you'll recognize and the reduced movement speed by 30%. And in Inferno, just remember again, the reduced movement speed by 30% is really reduced movement speed by about 22%. So not something that's going to be overly advantageous or something that you're really going to notice much of a difference with. In addition, even if it was movement speed of 60%, as I've said before, for melee characters, I do not find that reduced movement speed is beneficial whatsoever. So you may have a use for it, but I'm not really sure what it is. I don't think the skill is worthwhile whatsoever. So out of the first 3 that we've looked at, it's by far the worst. Reclamation, in my opinion, is much better. There's a 30% chance that you're going to be healed for 300 life per second. And so, again, if you're looking for that healing benefit, Mantra of Healing is likely more worthwhile. If it's a situation where, you know what, you really want the extra damage and that's the reason you're using this rune, but you just need that extra bit of health, maybe, but the 300 or the 30% chance to be healed for 300, I don't find to be beneficial. So another rune that I'd stay away from. The last one is Submission. Now this is again another way to increase your damage, but it's has a different purpose. So overall, will increase all of your damage by 12%, or an additional 12%. In this case, it's 13% weapon damage per second. So it looks like to be a 1% increase, but this isn't. If you have an attack speed of greater than 1, overall is likely going to be your better choice. And pretty much every single monk has an attack speed greater than 1. The only time that submission would be beneficial is if the only skills that you're using are single target, and this would be a good mob skill essentially, as it will provide AoE damage, because anyone that's within that 20 yards, which again is not a big area, but the 20 yards, if anyone's in that, they're going to be taking the 13% damage. So that would be the one situation where submission would do more damage than overall. But if you're running any sort of a standard type build, Fist of Thunder, even though it's a single target skill, depending on the rune choices, Thunderclap being the most obvious, Thunderclap does AoE damage associated with it. If you've got Cyclone for the Sweeping Wind skill, that provides AoE damage. Of course, any of the secondary skills, most of the technique skills, they all have AoE damage as well. So unless, and this is the only situation that I can think of, unless you're only running single target skills, then submission may be beneficial, but I'd probably first recommend that you change up your skills and then go with Overall. So Overall by far is the most powerful rune associated with this skill. So anyways guys, any questions or comments, leave them below. Thanks for watching.